Hey everyone, in today's tutorial we are going to be learning responsive web design in Figma using a real website, that is WhatsApp. This tutorial is meant for a beginner, those people that still feel like their work is still lacking some edge. Okay, we are going to use this opportunity to design WhatsApp in a way that when presented with the original WhatsApp interface and the one we've made, nobody will be able to differentiate, or it might be very hard to differentiate the original one and our own design. We are not going to just stop there. I'm going to teach you how to create illustration, how to create icons, and where to get resources from online, and we'll end it by making our interface responsive in a way that is going to be able to adapt to any screen size. Then we are also going to show you how to inspect a design, that is, inspect the responsiveness of a design, just like the way you can be able to inspect every live website out there on a browser. Grab your seat and let's get started. All right, so for us to get started, you just have to click on the responsiveness here, the name here, and then duplicate the design file. So that you'll be able to have your own copy that you can work with. I have made a screenshot of the interface that we are going to be designing. So I was supposed to design the desktop application, but I just found out that the interface for Windows and the interface for Mac might probably be different. So I decided to go with WhatsApp Web, which I believe is totally the same for everyone. We are not trying to maybe rebrand or redesign WhatsApp to something X. No, we are trying to show a potential client that we can be perfect when it comes to attention to detail. We can be able to do or design the same kind of interface or something much better. So please, I want you to be able to bring up your own reference and be able to match up the design using the principles that I'm going to be showing you, or using the flows in the tutorial. So with that being said, let's get into it. I'm going to bring the frame tool and then bring a frame size. So when you come here, you have the frame size. So here I'm going to go to desktop and then choose MacBook Pro 16. So I needed it to be a bigger screen. So, and the MacBook Pro 16 is the highest in Figma here. So that's why I'm using this. Now the next thing we are going to do is to give our frame here a guide that will help us not to put things in a place that it might not necessarily be okay. So here I will select your frame and then go to layout guide, so and change it to columns, and I think we'll leave it at default 5 for now, but what is much important in this scenario is the margin. So here I'm going to give it 20% margin. Okay. Now, so that's because anything we are adding here is not going to be going beyond this margin here. So it's more like a guide to know the edge, or maybe prevent adding something on the edge, because most times it will look bad and other times it will look weird. All right, so now that we are done, the next thing is to begin our design basically. All right, so we are going to start with the background color. If we are starting a project, like a full project, which I'm going to be going into in this channel, like be able to show you how and what to do when you are beginning a new project, but that is for another tutorial. But in this case, we are not going to be maybe setting up a style, or like font style or any other kind of styles. Okay, for this, we are just going to try to match up what they have already. Okay, so in this case, I've been able to pick out some of the possible colors that I can see here. So I just went in through this design and be able to pick out these colors. So you can be able to use it, or maybe use the colors that you can be able to pick from your own screenshot as well. So now the next thing is to select this guy, press I, and then pick this color here. You can see this color. I'll press Shift G to be able to hide the guide there, so you see what I just did. You can see this side is a little bit darker than this side, so we are using here for now. For the icons, it would have been possible for us to create all of these things by ourselves, so I would have shown you how you can be able to create it. So, but that would take forever, and most cases you'll not be able to create. You don't have to create this icon. If you are working with a bigger brand, some of these skills have to be specified. Like there are some people that will focus on iconography, that is creating icons for other designers to make use of. So, and there are some people that focus on other roles. But when you're working with a startup, which is quite most common among these roles, is that you have to be the one to do it. So, when you are involved in a project that involves you creating a custom icon that you think no one has ever done before, so you might really have to be creating the icon by yourself. But in most cases, you don't have to do that. There are a huge library out there, which I'm going to be showing you, that you have to make use of to be able to get most of the common icon that everybody uses. So now, let's say you want to create the icon by yourself. How do you go about it? Okay. Now, what you should know is that there are some certain rules that we use to create icons. Okay. Now most icons come in these sizes. Okay, 16, 24, 32, or 48, depending on the size. But the most commonly used is 16 and 24, and 24 is quite obviously the most popular. Now, for you to create your own icon, so let's try to recreate this guy. Let's say, because you can see the settings icon is actually here, and now let's say maybe you want to create your own icon by yourself, which is very, very rare you do that. Now what you can do is to select your frame like this, and then we are going to be using 24, which is, I told you, is the common, the most popular use case. So we'll bring a frame like this, and then we'll make it 24 by 24. All right. Now, when you make it 24 by 24, now we are going to give it a guide so that it will enable us to know, help us to do things the right way. Okay. Now, what we do is select this man like this. Okay. Now, this time I'm trying to show you some of the rules that the people that design icon, that specialize in designing icon, these are the rules they follow to get a perfect icon. Okay, so now I'm going to select the layout guide and just zoom closer here. Now, by default is grid, so I'm going to change the grid to 1, and then I'll make the color to be something like 50, just to get that grid out there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is to add another layout guide, but this one I'm going to change it to column, and for this column I'm going to make it 2 columns. Now, by default, it will be stretching, okay, which is what we want. Now, I want to make it a little bit brighter and increase the opacity of the color there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is to select this guy here. You press Ctrl D to duplicate, but instead of column now, I'm going to change it to rows so that it will now cover the, you understand what I mean. Now, the next thing we are going to do is to begin to design. You get? So now that we have something like this, we can now begin to select a rectangle, and then using shape to design your icon is like there are other ways you can be able to use other elements to design your icon, but using shapes is actually the most efficient way, in my own opinion. Okay, you can see I don't have to place things here. This is a guide that will not allow me to place something beyond that particular place. So now I'm going to select this guy, and I will make sure it's centered. You select and align. I'm going to press Ctrl D to duplicate, and I will rotate it 60 degrees. Now, when you're rotating, if you hold Shift, you're going to be rotating an increment. So now I want to make it 60. And once you make it 60, when you press Ctrl D to automatically remember what you did, which is pretty cool. Now you have something like this. The next thing you're going to do is to select them all, come here to the Boolean operation and say union, so that you'll be able to join them to become one shape. Now the next one is to bring another shape called ellipse. Now I'm going to make something like this here, and then I will align like this, and then I'm going to change the color so that you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Now I have something like this. I will select this guy and this one and use the Boolean operation again, and then say subtract, just to give it that hole in the middle there. Now that we have something like this, we can now add it a stroke and then remove the fill. Now when you add a stroke like this, kind of cool, you can make the stroke to be outside. When you make it outside, it's going to be overflowing. So, but let's get it done like this. Okay. When I was adding this guy, you can see they are intercepting, and that is where I can still come here to this subtract and select this ellipse here and scale it down like this. Okay, I think this is much better for now. And we have something like this. Okay, we are not done yet because if you come here, we can now come here to the rounded corner and give it something like maybe 5, or maybe 5 is too much. We can make it 3, just increasing and decreasing. This is for experiment purposes. You just have to play around until you get what you want. Now you can see my icon is actually okay. So let this guy duplicate, Ctrl D, and now you have something like this. If I turn this guy off, the guide, I just want to turn the guide off so that you see my shape is perfect. Now, one thing you should note about creating an icon is that making sure that the width of an icon is the same, is non-negotiable. Okay, that's because if the width are not the same, it's not going to looking proportional. It's not going to be nice. So if you're going with 2 for some reason, you must go with 2 in all round. Okay, if you're going with 1, you must go with 1 in all round. Now, creating this icon, all of them like this might take us forever. So that's why I've been able to use some libraries to be able to collect some of the icons. Okay, now one of those libraries I've used material symbol by Google. Now this one has a unique feature, as I want to show you first. So if I'm looking for something like a map, for instance, you can see the icons are very tiny. Now you can say, okay, I want it to be something like 48 size, just like what I told you here. By default is 24. You can see it's very tiny. So, but you can increase depending on your need. Okay. And now by default is also stroke. So what if you want a few version? So all you just have to do is to turn it on. Yeah. And now the icons are now coming few. Then you can also say, you know what, if you turn it back to stroke, for instance, you can say, you know what, I want it to be tiny, I want it to be bold, something like that. So you can customize it as much as you need. Okay, another one I'm going to show you is called a forceful icon. Yes. Now this is one I use quite most. But the downside about it is that it's a little bit limited, but the icons are actually quite modern. It also has a feature for stroke, width, and tiny kind of stuff, but their icons are quite much beautiful. Okay, you can donate as well if you want to. The last one I'm going to show you here is called Iconify. Iconify is a jack of all trade. Okay, if you search for any icon, it doesn't have like a filter to know if you're looking for a fill or stroke, but it gives you like a vast icon set that you have to scan around to be able to see or get whatever you're looking for. So you just have to, in general, it contains most of the icon that you ever want to get, and this is the plugin that I use to find some of these icons. Yeah. So if I've gotten any icon, all I just have to do is to drag it out like this, and then you have it. You get? So now, why I have this guy like this, you can see the one I created here. By default, this thing is turned off like this because I've watched my students see whenever they have, or maybe they brought an icon out like this, they say like this guy is disturbing them, and then what they'll do is to click here and remove it out of this place. Once you do that, you are causing yourself a very big disaster in the future. In your design, basically, because when you do that, your design will no longer look proportional and it will not look professional. Okay, so the essence of this frame at first is to make sure that the shapes are actually equal, because this shape now is not the same thing as this shape. Let's say I bring this one out now. Okay, if I should select this guy and align like this, okay, now you can see this one now has a little bit it has a little bit of space. But now if you should come in here like this and remove this guy, like this. Okay. For some reason this is not perfect, but if I select this guy and remove the fill, now you can see these guys now have the same authority, the same space, using the icon without the frame. So always make sure you do not remove this frame whenever you are using any icon, you get. So with that being said, I've been able to screw around the entire plugins that I've shown you so far for the icon, and I've gotten a lot of icons here, probably that will be able to take us through our design. So just pick any icon that we are going to be using from here, because I know if I'm picking that from the video, it will take forever. For the logo, I use a separate plugin called Brand Fetch. Brand Fetch is a plugin that gives you a logo of any company that you're looking for. You might not have like your local brand out there, but some of the international brands that you know are here. So you can search for any brand, or you can pick any brand. In most cases, you actually be going for SVG. If you don't select FVG, it's going to be a little bit complicated for you. You might have to be removing background, which is not what we want. Okay, you might not be able to change the color in the cases where you have to change color. So that's why SVG is very important. And again, whenever you zoom close to your design, it doesn't lose quality. So please make sure you always use SVG. You want to start from here. If you bring this guy from wherever, from this plugin, you have to right click and say frame selection, add shift A. Now when you add shift A, you can see you can be able to give them the amount of padding that you want. Now we just want 5 padding, so now we can be able to give it a fill of white for now, and then we'll go to the scale tool again and scale this guy down. We'll make it 30 for now, and go back to the move tool and give it a rounded corner of 100, just to make sure that they are perfectly round. I think 5 padding is not good enough. We can make it 5 again. Okay, I think this is good enough for now. Okay, we might want to scale it down, but as time goes on, we'll be scaling. All right, the next thing you do is to select the type tool and then just write like this. From all the experiment I had with the font, I think Roboto was the one that was very close to matching the design. So this is Roboto, and then I'm going to make it something like 20. And I will select this guy. I still need to scale this guy down. So what I'll do is to select this guy, shift A, and make it 20, 10, and make sure it's hog, and select this guy. I just double click to select the main the main logo, not the auto layout. So, and then press the K tool to go to scale and make everything here 15. Now you can see the way it's looking. Okay, I think it's much better. Then go back to the tool there, and I think this is okay. Now the next we are going to do is to add this one here. You can see the icons here. So I'll come here. I don't want to be duplicating from that place. I just want us to design everything from scratch. Select all of them like this, shift A to add auto layout on them, and select this one too, and this one, shift A. Okay, and make sure it's hog. And if you select this guy, you see the width here is 117.28. So copy it and select this auto layout here and paste it on the width, Control V. Now, and then what you have to do now is to go to the cap here and select and make it auto. When you make it auto, this guy will jump off, and then you can now select the frame here and align like this, align to the top like this. Okay, and you can see it's actually cool. But now you see that this guy is going beyond the margin, the guide that we added earlier. What we can now do is that if you remember when we are adding this margin, we made it 20, right? So the same thing we'll do here. So let this guy go to the padding, horizontal padding, and make it 20. Now, and then you see this guy is black, which is not giving enough contrast. It's not what we have in the design there. Look at what we have here. So what we'll do now is to select this guy. Now, when you select that dude here, go to selection color. You see the colors that are in the design or in the element you have selected. You see black there. We change our black to white. And now you have your design. Vertical padding of 10. Select this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy, and this one. Okay. I got the logo online, the Meta AI logo. I think I got that online. Right click and then frame selection. You have to frame selection first, then you now add auto layer shift A. When you add auto layer shift A, you can see everything is proportional, and then we can now give it 5 by 5 padding. Okay, why we are giving it padding at first is this. I want to show you something cool. You can see this guy. Okay, now you can see what I did here. If you add it a padding at first, so it will be easy for you to be able to prototype the hover state, the click state, and the default state. So here you can see I can be able to easily turn this off and on. But if you have not done that, it will be much difficult to achieve at the end run. So now I have something like this here, and I'm going to do the same thing here. Right click, frame selection, and then shift A, and just do the same to the rest, please. Now that you are done, you can now select everything like this, and then press shift A to make them one auto layout. You know what? All the selection color that is black, make them this color. So, and now you have something like this. Now, there's something a little bit tricky here. If you look at this place, you can see we have a little bit of a border there. So, what you do now is this. You select this one here, and we'll come here and give it a stroke. And in this stroke, we are going to make it go to individual stroke, individual side, and then set it to top. And once you set it to top, you go to the padding now. Expand this padding and go to the top padding, top vertical padding, and then increase it to something like 20. Click here and copy this guy here. Okay, I think that should be okay. Yeah, right. So now we have something like this, and we'll also select and move it a little bit back. Then we'll select this guy. You can see it's totally off there. So what I would do is to select this guy and then go to the padding here and set this side of the padding to 20 so that it will move it backward, and make sure it's set to hug. Now you can see we have something like this. Now I think we have most of the essential things that we need to do. Okay, then this side, I think is a little bit tricky. So what you have to do now is to select the settings. Now I'm going to, for the profile that is at the bottom there, I'm going to use an ellipse for that. So as an ellipse like this, and for this guy, I'm going to right click and then frame selection. Please, one thing you should also notice that some of the icons that you might be bringing might be having different sizes. In case if they are not 24, just make sure they are 24. This one should not have 25, and this one, something like that. So like when you go through this icon, if they are not the same size, okay, it will be difficult to be able to match. Okay, this one's 28 point something, okay, and 28 point something, you get. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So like this one now, I have to now copy this guy here, Control C. I'm going to delete this so it's not going to be confusing. I'm going to select this guy, duplicate like this. Okay, by default now it's 24, right? So, but I already have like a custom size for all the icons there. So what I'll do is to press the Cat tool and paste that size here like this. So it doesn't make much difference because the difference between the both sizes are not that much. So, but it's actually very important, and these are some of the details that you might ignore that people are looking to observe in your design. So, now that you have added that, so the next you do is to frame selection. You right click and frame selection, and then shift A to add auto layout, and then make it 5. And select this one. I think I'm ready to decrease this one. This side doesn't really matter because it's a profile. It might be bigger than the rest, which is quite understandable. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to the gap here. I'll make it 30 or maybe something closer. You get? So make sure this one is aligned to the center, please. So you select this guy, Ctrl X to cut, and select this one, Ctrl V to paste. And once you've pasted, it's actually here now. Okay, now I want to be able to move this guy down like this. So what I'll do is to select this one and this one. Make sure these things are in the center. Like this, so that it's not going to be difficult for us. So they are now in the center, and then you press Shift A to group these ones together and group these ones together. Let me make this guy the color that we have in Ctrl C, and this one Ctrl V. Okay, now we can now be able to, scale this guy down like this. But you can see this one is still sitting there. So all you just have to do is to come here and say auto. When you do that, it's sitting at the way bottom. So I want to bring it up a little bit. So we'll come here and make it something like, let's make it 30 for a text, okay? Look at where my on is. So I'm going to come here and bring it up a little bit. So I'm going to make it 50 for now, okay? It's going to remain 50 for now. And this guy should come closer, so I'm going to make this 20. You get? Yeah. So I think that profile icon is a little bit bigger than the one. So I'm holding Control. I'm holding Alt and Shift at the same time to scale this guy a little bit down. Yeah, I think I love it like that. So now we have this set. The next set that we are going to be getting is to add a profile picture here. So to add a profile picture, we use Unsplash. Yeah, you just click on portraits. I think I'll just say 3D portrait. Okay, 3D portraits. I'll change the orientation to square so that it will give me something that will fit perfectly. I think I love this. And duplicate. Okay, and I'm going to increase it to something like 30 and increase the weight to, instead of regular, I'll change it to medium. Okay, for these two icons here, add message and more. Duplicate like this, change the color. I want to group this guy together, Shift A to add a layout on them, and select this one, Shift A to add a layout. Make sure it's auto. Okay, and then we are going to leave it like this for now. Then the next thing is the search icon. So for the search icon, I'm going to duplicate this one like this, and I'll search for search icon here. I will change the icon to something like this. Select this one, Control X, and select this, Control Shift R. Control Shift R is paste and replace. I'm going to move it to this area, and I'll select this guy. Answer, I want it to be 10, close, and this one should be something like this, making it a regular, and this one should be 15 for now, or maybe later we'll experiment and see what we can do. But now I'm going to give it something like 5 by 5 in our side, and I'm going to give it a fill, Control V like this. And for the whites, I'm going to paste it on the white area like that. So we have something like this. I'm going to give it a rounded corner of 100 for now. And you can see this guy is getting to the edge a little bit, and this one is not close. I'll make the gap here 5, or maybe make it 0. Okay, I think 5 should be fine. Then for this dude here, I think you need to come in a little bit, so I'll make this guy 15. Okay, 10 should be fine. So I just want to shift this guy a little bit closer, so it should be okay. Now you can see we'll be able to make something like this. So I'll now select this guy and this one, shift A to add auto layout on them. And the another thing we need to do. Okay, we have this all on red favorite and group. So to do that, I'm going to select this guy, Control D to duplicate, and I'm going to select this guy and delete, and I will select this one and write all. So, and I'll change it from field to hog, and I'm going to give this guy 15. That is to give it a little bit of gap there. What if I make it 10? Okay. If I make it 10, I think let's try 8. Okay, we have all, and then Control D to duplicate. So I'll select these two, Shift A, and then give it a horizontal alignment there. I have on red, and I can duplicate again, Control D, and we have favorites. I'll duplicate again, Control D, and we say group. But we are going to select these guys, this one, and this one. I'm holding Shift to select 3, and press Shift X to flip the narrative, basically flip the field to the stroke, basically Control V. So for the stroke, what I did to get that stroke is to just select the color here and make it a little bit brighter, like this. In short, that is one way you can easily get colors from design. Get. So most cases you just have to use the colors you already have to generate another color that will work well. Okay, now I can now select this guy and move like this. Now why this one is not moving is because I set it to hog. Okay, even if I set it to fill, I still control the gap. Let's say I set it to fill, for instance. Okay, I still control the gap that is have to be there. You get, but when I set it to something like auto, now you can see the item get distributed equally to other areas. So, but I want it to be 10. You get, so this one is set to fill container, and that's why it's moving, and this one is set to fill container, and it's set to auto. That's why it's moving outside. Because I'm explaining that because people get confused. So sorry. Okay, so please, I hope you are getting it. In case if you are finding it difficult or have any question, leave it in the comment. I will try as much as I can to answer you as soon as possible. Now that we are done with this section, I think the next section will be this guy here. Okay, the chat section. So we are going to design this area. Okay, so what we are going to do now is to bring the archive this area. Okay, so now I'm going to bring the icon here. I'm going to write archive, let it fit very well there, and then Shift A to add auto layout, and then give it something like 10 or 5. Okay, I think 10 is okay, and make sure it's hog, and change the color like this. We are using this color that is here. Okay, now that we are done with this, we can now begin to design the charts, basically. So what we'll do now is to bring this text here like this, and I'm going to duplicate. I'll write the name of the person I'm going to be chatting with. Okay, and I'll write this is like our recent message. Okay, so I'm going to make this 15, and I'll take this color code here, Ctrl C, and take it on this one, Ctrl V. Okay, maybe later I will show you why I'm going to do that. Okay, now you can see I have the name of the person and our recent message, which is this one. Now under this recent message, you can see if I'm done the send message, right? This red receipt is going to be here, and then the time the message was sent is going to be here. So now you can see the person I'm chatting with is aligned with the time that the message was sent, and the red receipt is aligned with the recent message. So now to do that, I'm going to duplicate this one as okay. The message was sent by 11 12 for an instance. So I will click on auto width. I'm going to make it white for now. So all right, now I have white like this. So now what I'll do is to select this guy and this guy, shift A to add auto layout. Then I'm going to bring a rectangle again and make something like this. For this rectangle, I'm going to control the proportion and then make it 40. You have to look at your chart and make sure if it is what you want. Look at the size of your images. If it's big or small, you can basically reduce it. So I'm going to take this guy and increase the corner radius to something like 100, so it will be completely round. Then for this guy, you see that this one and this one, shift A. I'm going to add that to the layout here. Then for this one, it's going to be 15. So I'm going to reduce the gap to 10. Yeah. Okay, something like that is okay. And I want to align it like this. Okay. Now, for this one, I think I would like it to be one line. I don't want it to be two lines, but I still need this text to be here. So what I'll do now is to come here, select the double click and select the main text, and then go to text settings and click on truncate text. Now with that, you can see the text is being truncated, which means if I select this guy and expand this text, the more I expand, now it's not following that auto layout here, because if you select the text now, I need to set it to fill container. Now when I fill container, if I reduce the container, the text gets reduced, and if I expand the container, the text expands as well. So it's more like the okay. So let's continue with the next, and then for this one, you're going to select this guy and this guy, shift A. Okay, and I'm going to reduce the gap there to 10. And for this one, I'm going to select, change it to medium, basically just for it to have a little bit of weight. And now I will take this auto layout and say fill container. Now when I fill container, I'll make sure that the gap is auto. You can see this guy will automatically jump to the end there, which is kind of cool. And for this one, I'll select this guy. Now I want to show you something. For those of you that love chatting with emoji, now let's see how you can be able to add emoji here. Let's say I want to add emoji here. All you just have to do is to click on window period key, the key after comma on your keyboard. I don't know what it is on Mac, but I think you can just browse the key to add emoji on Mac. You can use it to fill up the entire space like that. So the next is to select this group now and select this guy, shift A to add auto layout. Make the gap 10 and make sure it's set to hug. You get. Now we cannot take this guy. I feel like this one is a little bit small, so I'm going to make this guy 50. Yeah, I think it's much better now. Yeah, I like it. Okay, now we can, it seems like this one is 2, so I'm going to make this 5 like that. Okay, that's okay. Then we can begin to maybe add an image, so I'm going to use Unsplash to do that. Okay, so here we can now begin to style this guy to achieve whatever we want. For this guy, I would like to use this color code here, Ctrl C, and for the time, I'm going to use this color code V. Yes, and for this one too, I'll use this color code here. Yeah, so I'm just double clicking to go in and come here and press Ctrl V to paste like this. Now obviously we might, okay, let me duplicate first because we have different variation. So here we might have only one receipt. That is, if the person have received the message but have not read it yet. So we have one there. Maybe I'm going to shorten this guy a little bit more. So we have one check. So only this one now need to have this color. Why this one will be like this. So this one might be this time. Why this one will be something like yesterday. I'm going to select both of them. Shift A to add auto layout like that. So I'm going to duplicate again. Control D. Maybe I'll quickly change the name of it just to have different variation. So now that we have something like this, I might want to give this guy different colors as well, different images as well. So now that we have something like this here, I'm going to select this guy, Control X, and then select this one, Control V to paste, and then I will use the arrow to move it up. But again, I want to select these guys and these guys. Okay, now if you should add a fee here, you can see the fee is not looking very nice. So what you're going to do is to select them, these three like this, and then go to the padding and make them 10 by 10 padding like this. Okay, now when you make them 10 by 10 padding, you can see that these guys are not aligning very well. So what you do is to select the item inside like this one and set it to fill container. You can see that, fill container. So this will be very important when we begin to make it responsive. So fill container like that, and you can now select them again. Okay, just give them a rounded corner of 10. Yeah, I think this is cool. But for now, we don't need the fill. We just need we don't need the fill in all of them. So I'm going to remove the fill, just hide it like this. Okay, and then yeah, I think we are good. Are we? Okay, so we are going to select this one like this and make it white. So copy this color code. Okay, and make this all white for now. And take this guy. Is it? Yeah. I'll paste the color code here just to switch in between them. Then the rounded corner, I'm going to make it 10. Yeah. So I will take this guy here. What did it say? Get WhatsApp for Windows. Alright, so I'm going to click here and I'll select this auto layout like this. And yeah, I think this is okay for now, but this guy is too big. So I'll select, double click to select this guy and basically increase the contrast, or maybe go to the cat tool, the scale tool, and then reduce it from 50 something there to something like 40. Okay, is it okay? So auto layout has been added here. I think I can just reduce the auto layout to 10. Sorry, the pattern on the auto layout to 10. Then I will select this guy, press I on the keyboard. When you select this guy, press I on the keyboard, you cannot be able to pick this color. Now the gap there, it should be 10 at least. Okay, I'm making it 20. Alright, so the next thing is to add a padding on this. Okay, I'm going to increase it to 10 by 10 padding like this. And yeah, I'm going to give it a fill, but the fill is going to be the same color as this. Okay, and I'm going to give it a stroke but the stroke has to be on the top only, and the stroke color has to be this guy here. So Ctrl C this color code, select this guy, go to the stroke color, and paste this guy there. Maybe it might not be the final code, the final color yet, but as we progress, we are going to make adjustment. You can see what we have here now. So the type chevron and something like this comes up, and I think I can just make something like this, just like this one. Okay. Now, what I did was to just reduce the fill. So from 24, I made it 20. Maybe let me. I made it 15. Yeah, just for it to be a little bit smaller. And then I selected the pen tool. I click here, and here I was holding shift. I hold shift actually to make it a straight line, and increase the width of the stroke to something like 10. 10 is too much. Let's make it 5, and change the endpoints there to round. Then select this guy and this one, shift A, and reduce the gap like this. Yeah, and basically pick this color here. Sorry. Yeah, you go to selection color and you pick this guy. Okay, so that's how that one was created. It seems like this one should be a little bit bigger, so I'll make it 6. Alright, so now I have something like this. The next thing I'm going to do now is to duplicate this guy to have more. Okay, I'm going to select this 3 like this and then press Ctrl D to duplicate. Now, when I duplicate, I want to show you something now. Okay, if I duplicate and I shorten it like this. Okay, if I go to the preview, make sure you launch your preview. If you select this guy, you press Shift space bar. Okay, you can be able to launch the preview like this. All right, now if you scroll here, you can see that nothing is happening. But now, when I come here and then go to portrait, prototype, and then set it to go to overflow and set it to scroll vertical, you'll see now that when I come here, I can be able to scroll this guy as much as possible. Okay, now you're not seeing the difference, and that is because if you come here, you have to check this one called clip content. You can see when you clip content, only what is showing, only what is on this guy within the frame here that will be seen like this. You can say if I extend this guy, I'll see more. If I reduce it, I'll see less. So if you come here now and scroll, can you see what we have now? Right? So now we cannot take this one and make it somewhere here like this. So we cannot take this one too with this one and Shift A to add auto layout. Now we are going to align it like this. Okay, so it's going to be at the top there, and we are going to reduce the gap to 10. Okay, at the same time, this one has to be fill container as well, because if it is on fill container, if you reduce this guy, it's going to reduce like this. If you extend, it's going to extend like that. Hope you get that. Now we cannot take this one, and this one. We say Shift A to add auto layout. Now to add this auto layout, you can see everything is scattered. The first thing we do is that everything has to be aligned this way, and the second thing is that everything has to, this one has to be fill container. Okay, fill container like this. Now, when it is field container, you can see it's extending way beyond, but I want that particular one to be center aligned, like this right too. Okay, just like this. Okay. Now, I just remember that I have a cancel button here, but in this one we do not have it. So what we do is to come here, Control C on this cancel button, and come here. You select the auto layout like this, and then press Control V. Okay, once you do that, you cannot take this guy and reduce it like this. Okay, but I think I'm going to use this color code here on that button, this one. So I'll copy, Control C, because I don't want it to be that visible. Yeah, I'll paste Control V like that. Okay, it's way too dark, but it's okay. Now, this one is not field container, and this one is also should also be field container like this. So this one is already field container. Now we can now begin to reduce the gap. Control, okay, the gap is way too much, so I'll make it 20 like that. Okay, the gap is not as much as I need. Let me make it 25. Okay, just to create this this gap here, because I wouldn't want it to look like I wouldn't want it to look clustered there. So let's see, always check your preview to see what you're doing. Now you can see these guys are getting too close. So we need to create we need to increase the proximity there, like let them know that this guy is different. So I'm going to make the gap here 30. Okay, I think 30 should be fine there. I don't know if this one is okay, or maybe you should increase this text to 20. Let's try 20 because it seems to be a little bit lost. So let's see. I seem not to be happy with that. Okay, we can increase this padding here just to create what you want. You can see this one is 8. Why not make it 10? Yeah. And this one, why not make it 20? Yeah, cool. I think it's much better now. Okay. And now for this one, what if it is 25? Anything that will help you to avoid visual cluster, I think you have to follow it. Now we have something like this. On the archive, I think it's a little bit lost. So why not increase it to 20 and increase this guy is 22. So I'm going to select the scale tool and make it 24, just to bring it up a little bit, which is cool. Now I'm trying to look at my design and begin to use my eye to balance the visuals. Okay, so there was no time that I know that this guy has to increase or decrease, but when I look at my preview, I see that something is lost or something is too big or something is too small. I begin to experiment to get the size right. The end goal is to make sure that everything looks perfect. Okay, even though it can never be perfect, it can only get better. All right, so now I can take this guy and bring it here. So make sure I switch back to the move tool. So I'm going to move it here. Now, as I'm moving this guy, it's supposed to move with this one. So what I'll do is to select this guy, select this one like this, and I'm going to go to the gap and set it to auto. Now when you set it to auto, anytime you adjust the main container, they will all adjust. But I just want only this one to adjust and not this one. Okay, so what you are going to do there now is to select this one and this one. This is what I'm doing now. I'm selecting this one and this one. So I'm going to give them another auto layer, Shift A, to give them another auto layer. Now I can now make them 30. Now, I want this guy to fill up, so I'm going to duplicate multiple of this. So here, 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 here. So I'm going to duplicate, Control D. Did you see that? So when I duplicate, I can be able to move it like this. Now you're now seeing my duplicate now, and that is because this one is shortened. Like, remember we shortened this guy to be small like this. So what we do now is to double click here, look at this guy. You go to this place and set it to fill container, and double click again. You see this one is a little bit short. You go to that place and say fill container as well. Now, as you begin to fill container, you double click again and say fill container like this. Can you see that? Remember when we went here to do this guy and we set it to clip content. That is why when it was like this, you get, when it was like this, it was hiding our duplicate. So, but now that all you just have to do, you don't need to uncheck this guy because it's very important. Watch, let me show you something now. If we go to this place and then we scroll, did you see as we are scrolling, you see what is happening is overfloating. But now if you go and say clip content, if you play again, you see what is happening. Did you see? Very cool, just like the way it's supposed to move, right? Yeah. If you have gotten to this point, you are a pro. Okay. Now I'm going to now select this guy and say view container on the vertical axis. Now what this one means is that anywhere this guy is, if I keep extending this guy now, it will keep extending like this. If I shorten it from the big container, it's going to be shortened like that, which is pretty cool. Now this is what I want here, like this. Okay. And I think if you've gotten to this place, you're a pro. Yeah. So now we have something like this. Okay. The next thing we are going to be doing is to see what we need to adjust, and then we proceed with other necessary features too. I think this guy is a little bit lost. I'm going to increase this one. So let's go to sketch and make this guy 20, and make this one go to the move tool and make this one 8. Of course, I wouldn't want this one to be too much, so I'll leave it 6, please. So if I go back, okay, what if I need it to be 8 now? And again, I can increase or shorten this guy like that. So yeah, I think it's okay now. Kind of cool. Okay, you have to look at your own chart and see if you are getting it right or not. Please make sure you use your chart to do something. So, and again, what I want to show you now is that if your own is not responsive like this, there must be something wrong somewhere. Okay, if it's not responsive like this, something is wrong somewhere. So all you just have to do is that everything inside is set to fill container. Everything, like only this main container is not fill container, right? So but every other thing inside has to be fill container, and something like that. We now have a lot of complex auto layout in here, which if you come here, you see how it is here. We have multiple auto layouts inside another auto layout. Okay. I've actually, for those of you that are still struggling with auto layout, I have a video out there that I have explained auto layout in the basic form as possible. So I will try to go slow on this auto layout issue here in order for you to be able to grab it. But if you think you still need extensive lecture on auto, specifically for auto layout, yeah, I think I would recommend you go and look at that video. Well, we can continue, please. So the next thing we are going to do now is that if you look at this place, you see we have this guy here. So what we do now is to select this guy, add a fill. On this fill, I'm going to the color code there is this dude there. So you pick this guy here like that. And now we have something like this. But this is the worst we can present to anybody right now. Okay, so what we'll do is to select this guy and give it a padding of 20 by 20. Yes, if you can set it to hug, but if you set it to hug, it doesn't really matter because we have to be adjusting this guy as much as we need. So this is 20 by 20, which I don't think is serving the purpose. So how about 40? Okay, 40 is too much. Let's make it 30. Okay. I'm also looking at this place and seeing, if you are getting it right or not. Okay, so we'll be iterating on this and see where we need to adjust as time goes on. Okay. I don't know why I feel like my image is a little bit short. That is, these icons are very short. So I don't know why I have that feeling. Like it's very small. That is, it should have been bigger than this. But this is me just feeling that if I convince myself that it is small, yes, then I have to go back and increase it. You get? But for now, I think I just need to proceed. Okay, so now that we have something like this, I'm going to give it a rounded corner of 20 like this. Okay, and I'm going to give it a stroke and select this guy and come to the stroke here and then paste it. Yes, so this is the color that I have on the stroke, and the same color as well that has to be here. Okay, the same color has to be here as well. So I'll take this one too, and I'm going to come here and paste Ctrl V. Now, this is where things get a little bit complicated. Yeah, because watch, this guy was supposed to fill this area. Can you see the way this one is? But our own now, we now have something totally different. Can you see? We now have a gap here, and that gap we have there is because of this dude here. So what we do is to come here and remove the outer layers here. Sorry, remove the padding here. Okay, when we remove the padding, everything has to be 0 padding. Okay, now you can see, now that we don't have padding there, everything is matching perfectly. Okay, which is pretty cool. But now, how do we add a padding here without affecting other stuff? Okay, and that is using another means to add a padding. Okay, now if you watch on this area, on this level now, okay, we have this guy here, right? The entire container. But we also have another layer that is inside this one now, that is not affecting this guy. So we have this other layer here. So that means at this level is where we need to add the padding of 20 by 20. I don't know if you get the point now. You can see this one is now stretching. And again, on this padding, it's not everywhere that we need 20 by 20. So maybe on the bottom side, we have to be 0. Cool. On this side, it has to be 30. And that is on this side, it has to be 30. Okay, is that nice? I think 20 should be good enough, please. Let's not complicate things for ourselves. Okay, I'm experimenting, please. This is not the final work. Okay, if maybe tomorrow or next, and I feel like I need to adjust something, yeah, I have to come back here and adjust something. Now for this color, this background color here is no longer the color that we need, so we need to pick this one so that it will be matching exactly. Okay, so I'm going to take this one here and bring it down like this. And now, we now have something that looks a little bit convincing. But if you come here, you see that this place is sharp. Now this place is sharp, but this place is round. So the way to achieve that is that we'll come here and we say on this rounded corner, in case your own is not expanded, the corner already say we are going to say, you know what, this one has to be 0. Yeah. Are we there? Okay. We said this one has to be 0, and then this one, every other thing has to be 0 apart from this top area. So 0, 0, like this. And again, for this one to also work, we need to add a stroke here. Okay, so all we just have to do is to select this guy, because the stroke we added here is being covered by this one here, this guy. So what we do is to select it, come here, and then go to custom. When you go to custom, you can see that only the top side is 1. So we'll also say this side should also be 1. And now if you click off, you see we now have something like this there. Okay, do we also need it here? Yes. So we'll also come here and say this side is here. So we also need 1 here again. Yeah. So you can see we now have that construction there, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Now, and again, the good part of this is that if you select this guy, everything is responding as supposed to be, which is pretty cool. I don't know why my eye keep telling me that this guy is too big. Although WhatsApp wants you to be big because they prefer you using the desktop application instead of the web application. So, but at the same time, for our design to be right, I think I'm going to reduce this guy to 30. Yeah. And reduce the padding. No, I think the padding should be okay. So the next one is this area. Now, for this illustration, in as much as I want this design to be procedural, for illustrations like this, okay, it can be done in Figma, but there are still other places where you can get illustrations that you can use on your design, you get. So for this one, I designed it, I look at the screenshot there, and then I try to redesign it in Figma. So I'm going to show you what I've done there. I'm going to take this guy. I just selected the screen. So this is the screen that I'm designing now. The first time you opened your chart, this is how it's going to look like. Okay, and I decided to design it in Figma like that. So for you to get icons like this, there are a lot of places you can get it. Some are free, some are paid. So one of those, as I was making research, okay, one of the sites you can visit is this is a very good resources, like it's called UX Library, like this. So now, when you open this place, you find a lot of resources, but we are looking for the one that are going to give us illustration. So where you come here to this place called free resources, and then you say you are looking for illustration, and it's going to give you different sites. These are different free sites that you can get illustration from. But the one I use most of the time is on Draw. All you just have to do is to click on it, and you go to on Draw websites. Okay, browse. Let's say I'm looking for house. Okay, I'm looking for a house, for instance, or maybe you can search, or you can just come here. Let's say I need something like this now. I click on this and I download. Make sure you download SVG, unless you need PNG. So when you download the SVG, you get it, and then you, wherever it is, you go and bring it to wherever it is, you drag it into Figma, and then you begin to use it. So with that being said, what if you want to design our own? So what I'll do is to right click, and then I'm going to lock this guy, and I'm going to show you one or two things I did. I try looking at different approach to this. So what I did was to mix this one and duplicate to this place, something like this. Now I can now select this guy and come and say 20 or maybe 10, and this one I'll make it 10 and 10. So now I have this and this shift A. So what I did was to select this guy and pick this color here and pick this. I was actually picking color from the illustration from myself basically. So and I think the one that is going to be a little bit hard is this guy here. So what I did was to make something like this. I decided to eyeball this like this, make something like this, and I flip Shift X. I just flip like this. I selected this guy. Just make adjustment like this. Just selected this guy and give it a rounded corner of 10. 10 is too much. Let's make it 5. And this one, this one is 5, 5. And this one's supposed to be the next one is come here. I also use this guy to make something like this. Okay, something like this. And go to this place and make it 10 or maybe 5. And this one 5. Make something like this. Now for this one I duplicated like this. Just reduce the size and make sure it's matching very well. I took my time to make sure it looks perfect. You should do the same too. You can see everything is mixed up now, but what you can do, stroke and add this color there for now. But now the stroke is a little bit weird, so I'm going to make it outside and reduce this guy to something like 0.5. I'm going to group that to Ctrl G to group, and the same thing here. I pick this color like this and move it like this. I'm going to select this guy and this guy like this, Ctrl G to group like that as well. Now I can now be able to move these guys around. Yeah, you can, in case if something is looking weird, you can basically adjust it. So like this, okay. Now I can see the way this one is. All I can do now is to come here, bring this onto the front. To bring something to the front, you right click, bring to front and bring to back. You can see the shortcut there. Let's position this guy like this, and for the rest are basically icons. Okay, you go to a place like this and search for and look for different codes that is going to work with there. You bring it like this, so make sure it's not inside there. So you press scale 2 to bring it something like this, and you go to the fill, you change the color like this. Now when you change the color, it's not looking as this. All you just have to do is to select that guy there, this one, add a stroke around it and make the stroke the same color as the background, and now you have something like this. Okay, so that is how I was able to fill up. I added a message, I sent message or telegram, charts, documents, and line like this, and then cancel. So that is how I was able to get that icon like that. You select everything. After you are done organizing them, you select everything and group them, Control G. Do that, and then let's continue. So I already have mine. I'm going to unlock it, right click and then go to unlock. Okay, so I'm going to scale this guy a little bit like this, and we are good. So you already know what you did. So if you select here, you see that it's light 40 and this one is 20 regular Roboto actually. So you select this guy and this guy shifts A, and this one add shift A, and the caption should be 50, maybe for now. 50 is too much. How about 10? Maybe 20, sorry. Now I can now take this guy to the center here, and again I need to have that download button. So what I will do, you have to set this guy to fill container. Please this text fill container and this one fill container, everything here. This one has to be at the size that you want it to be. Okay, now I'm going to select this guy, duplicate, Control D, and then I'll just write download. Okay, and set it to auto weight and press Shift A to add auto layout, and come here and add 20 by 20 padding, and I'm going to change the view to this dude here and change the color here to the background, and I think this guy is going to be 10 and this guy is going to be 50. Select here and have something like this. So now if you resize this guy, you see everything is resizing perfectly the way they should, and they are adapting very well. Okay, the last one that we are going to do is this one here. Your personal messages are encrypted. Select the text and come here to our icons, and we have this padlock here. Move it here, select this one, Shift A, make the gap something like 10, and Ctrl C, Ctrl V, just to make the color the same, and select this guy and this one, Shift A. Now this one, the gap is going to be R2 for now, and we'll just move it to the bottom here. Add it a few, this place a few now. Don't worry, this place is taking a lot of time, and this is one of the time consuming area. Every other side is going to be easier. I want this one to have a stroke as well, but the stroke is going to be only to the top, and the stroke is going to have the same color as this. So I'll copy this color code from here and paste it on the stroke like this. Okay, now select this guy and this guy, Shift A, and now select this one. We can maybe make this guy to fill container, you get, and also make it to fill container, I know, horizontal and vertical. At the same time, we want the gap to be 0. Yeah, and now if we extend this guy anywhere we want, you can see the way it is now. Okay, so now some things are looking weird. So what we'll do is to double click to come to this section and set it to center align like this. I think we'll still take this one and set it to auto. Let's see. If you set it to auto, then this one cannot affect it like this. Or if you do not set it to auto, let's say we set it to any size, this one can still be anything. So it depends on the way you want it. So I'm going to set it to auto, and then use this padding on the top here to move it to something like 200 to make it in the center like that. Now these ones are extending, making the text very hard to read. So in that case, we'll double click here and give them a horizontal padding of 50. Let's see. Okay, 50 is not much. So, but we can increase this guy like this. Let's see what we have. If we go to our preview, you see that we are beginning to build and build and build. Yeah, it's still very far. Alright, so now we have something like this here, and I think if you've made it to this point, you are a pro. Alright, so the next we are going to do now is to see that some things are missing here. We have this number of charts, number of, so that they are going to have the same equal side. Now you can see they are now, yeah, you understand what I mean? So make sure it's centered, because if it is not, you will begin to receive something like this. Alright, so for this one, maybe we can increase it to something like 24. Okay, but if you do that, it's going to do something like that. But I think I love what we have, and I'll make this guy 5. And the padding to be 5, but at the same time, now make it 33 by 33. Just make sure both sides are equal, and we can now set it like this. Now, for us to bring it here, because it has to be somewhere here, is a little bit big, so raise the scale tool and scale it back to something like 15. Yeah, and go back to the move tool and make sure it's aligned to the center like that. Okay. Everything should work well. Yeah. Now what we do now is to find a way to add it here, right? So we have to make sure that it's inside this place. But now when you add it there, it's creating its own space. And then you go to this place and say ignore auto layout. Make sure this dude is selected. And then ignore auto layout like this. And then you can set it to anywhere you want like this. Now this one has a field that we need to add, because if you come here, this shows that that is the select state. Just add a field. You can see it's white. Give it a rounded corner of 100, which is no longer perfect white. I don't know why, but I know why. Because this guy is not set to hug. It's not set to, yeah. Can you see? So now I'll come here and then the field, I'll reduce it to something like 10, so that it's going to create that default state. So what I do is to, if I created something like that through that means, I will come here, and pick this color that is here now. So in this place, because for developers now, they will find it difficult to get this color. When they select this guy, they will be seeing white there, but it's not white anymore. So what I'll do is to come here and select this color pick and pick this color here, like that. Now if you go there, you can see the color code that is there now. It's no longer white with a reduced feel. Okay, so now we are getting there. So the last one here is to join these guys together. So you select these two panel, or maybe this one's is not yet cool. So what I do is to duplicate these guys. Yeah, I'll duplicate this one out and remove this one. So when you remove it, you can now be able to select the scale tool and make it anything you want. Let's make it 10 now, or maybe 5, since it's going to just be a dot. So press Ctrl X to cut and select this one and this one at the same time, or maybe this one, maybe just this two. Ctrl V. When you do that, you go back to this place and say, I want it to be, you understand what I mean? Okay, I'm using the arrow key to position it where I think it's going to be good. If it's not the way you want it, let's see. Yeah, I think our own is a little bit tiny, which is not cool. Yeah, I'm going to make this 10, and yeah, 10 basically. So these two panels, you can see they are different, and this guy is different. So select this and this, Shift A to add auto layout. Press V, and you can basically increase or decrease the gap there. So let's check our preview and see what we have. Then this guy is a little bit small compared to what we need. So if you go to this place, I think it's quite cool now. Very much better now. We can select these two. Yeah, to measure the gap there. If we come here, see the gap is 25. We just want it to be 20. Then we want to make this one responsive, because we might not have the time to begin to, work on this differently. Watch. If you go here to the preview, you see, once you come to this area and you say responsive, can you see the way things are looking? It's not looking the worst, but it's not the best at the same time. So you can say this place is not responding well. So how do we do that? Okay, all we just have to do now is to select this frame, go to the constraint now, in case your own is hidden. Just click on this constraint. You'll be able to see on the horizontal constraint now, we are going to make it left plus right. Then this one too, on the nav bar, yeah, we'll select this guy, the horizontal constraint to left plus right. I think that is all that we need to do for now. Yeah. So once you are done, you go back to the preview again. You see, okay. Now, what you are having, everything is right except this guy. So what is going on? Okay. So if you should select this guy, now this place is set to auto. We don't want it to be auto. We want this gap to be specific. That is 20. Is 20 too much or too close? So let's try 30. Okay, 30 is okay. Now if you go back to the preview, you see this. Yeah. Can you see? But this one is not also adjusting to where it's supposed to adjust to. Let's find why. Now we can now come here and see if this guy, the items inside, are they set to fill container, because those are the issues that could cause this guy not to respond. Now you need to begin to interpret. The outer stuff doesn't need to be fill container because it can be, but the ones inside has to be fill container, like this one is not fill container. Yeah. So double click again just to check the individual stuff there. Cool. Now let's see what we have again. We'll come here and then you see, pretty cool. Can you see everything is responsive now? If you scroll here, you have your item and every other thing that we need to get to. So yeah, congratulations for making it to this point. Yeah, the next one is going to be this frame and this frame. So see you there.